When you're old and alone, do this every day to stay happy and avoid loneliness. My dear friend, let me speak to you heart to heart. There will come a time in life when the house grows quieter, when footsteps that once filled the hallways are gone, when the laughter of loved ones has become a memory that floats through your mind like a song half remembered. You may find yourself sitting at the table with only one plate, one chair pulled out, one cup of tea cooling by your side. The silence can be heavy, almost unbearable. You may feel the sting of loneliness pressing on your chest, whispering that life has already passed you by. But let me tell you this, with all the years and wisdom I have gathered, being alone does not mean your life is over. Being alone does not mean you are forgotten, and being alone certainly does not mean you cannot still find joy every single day. Loneliness, you see, is a state of the heart, not a condition of the house. You could be surrounded by people and still feel utterly lonely, or you could sit in solitude and feel peace deeper than a crowded room could ever give you. The difference lies in how you choose to live each day, in what you do with the hours gifted to you. If you wake up every morning and see your solitude as a prison, you will only feel despair. But if you wake up and see it as an open field, wide and waiting, you will find freedom you never knew you had. I am not speaking of grand gestures or achievements. Happiness at this stage of life does not come from chasing after the things of youth. It comes from learning to live well in the small moments. It comes from reclaiming the ordinary acts of daily living and treating them as treasures rather than burdens. Making your bed can be a way to remind yourself that order still exists in your world. Preparing a meal can be an act of self-respect, proof that you are still worthy of nourishment and care. Sitting with a cup of tea by the window, noticing the clouds drift by, can become a doorway into peace. But let us not pretend this is easy. Loneliness will knock at your door. There will be mornings when the silence feels sharp, when you long to hear the voice of someone you once loved, when memories ache more than they comfort. This is natural. Do not scold yourself for feeling it. Instead, acknowledge it gently, then turn your face toward the light. Ask yourself, what can I do today to keep my spirit alive? What can I do today to remind myself that I am still here and that life, in all its beauty, is still happening? The truth is, every day holds a choice. You can sink into despair, or you can rise into gratitude. You can close yourself off from the world, or you can step into it with even the smallest gestures of connection. You can let your mind grow still and heavy, or you can keep it alive by learning, creating, giving, and noticing the world around you. And here is the secret most people never tell you. Even in old age, even in solitude, you still carry the power to touch others, to make a difference, to bring light into places that have grown dim. So if you are old and alone, do not think of yourself as forgotten. Think of yourself as someone who has been given the gift of quiet, the gift of time, the gift of space to rediscover life in its simplest, most sacred form. Each morning, when you open your eyes, whisper this to yourself: I am alive. I am still here. I have something to give, even today. And let this thought guide you, because happiness does not come from waiting for someone else to fill the emptiness. It comes from choosing, with every breath, to live your days with intention, with gratitude, and with courage. You are not at the end, my friend. You are at a beginning of a new kind, a season where you can transform solitude into serenity and loneliness into wisdom. And if you will walk with me, I will show you how. Part 1. Accepting and embracing solitude. My dear friend, let us begin with the hardest but most important truth. You must first make peace with being alone. For many, this is the mountain that seems too steep to climb. We grow up surrounded by people, family, neighbors, friends, co-workers. For decades, our lives are noisy, filled with responsibility and conversation. Then, slowly, the circle narrows. Children move far away. Friends drift apart or pass on. Partners leave us through death or distance. And suddenly, the silence feels almost cruel. But let me share a secret I have learned in the long years of life. Solitude is not your enemy. Solitude is a mirror, and when you dare to look into it without fear, you will discover treasures inside yourself that you never had the time to see before. Loneliness hurts when you resist it. But the moment you stop fighting, the moment you say, "This is my life now, and I will not run from it," you will feel a strange kind of relief, as though a heavy weight has finally been set down. Think of the seasons of a tree. In spring, it blossoms. In summer, it gives shade and fruit. In autumn, it lets go of its leaves. And in winter, it stands bare, yet still alive, quietly gathering strength beneath the surface. Your solitude is like winter. At first it looks empty, but if you stand quietly in it, you will realize it is a season of preparation, a season where you can gather wisdom and peace for the soul. Every day, practice acceptance. Wake up and say, "I am alone, but I am whole. I am alone, but I am alive. I am alone, and in this quiet, I will learn to know myself again." It may feel awkward at first, even painful, but over time these words will become a shield against despair. Do not confuse being alone with being abandoned. Life has not abandoned you. You are still breathing, still thinking, still feeling, still capable of joy. And if you can see solitude as a companion rather than a curse, you will find that loneliness begins to lose its grip on your heart. I once knew a woman who, after her husband passed, could not bear the silence of her house. She kept the television on all day just to fill the air. But over time, she grew tired of the noise. One morning, she turned it off and sat in the quiet. At first she cried. Then she noticed the sound of the birds outside, the wind against the window, the rhythm of her own breathing. Slowly, she began to realize that silence was not her enemy. It was her teacher. It was telling her, "You are enough. You do not need constant distraction to matter." That day was the beginning of her healing. This is the first step for you as well, to embrace the quiet, to trust that solitude has something to teach you, and to believe that you can live fully even when the house is empty. Part 2. Daily Rituals that Bring Joy. Now that you have taken the first step of acceptance, the question arises, how do you fill your days? What can you do so that time does not become heavy, so that loneliness does not creep back in when you least expect it? The answer lies not in grand adventures or dramatic changes, but in small, steady rituals that bring meaning to each day. Happiness in old age is built like a quilt, stitched together piece by piece, habit by habit, moment by moment. Begin your morning with intention. Do not rush. Rise slowly. Stretch your arms. Breathe deeply. When you make your bed, do it as though you are preparing a place of honor for yourself. This simple act says, "I respect myself. I honor this day." Prepare your morning tea or coffee with care. Notice the warmth of the cup in your hands, the aroma rising to greet you, the first sip as it touches your lips. Do not let these small gifts pass unnoticed. They are the kind of treasures that make life rich when seen with the right eyes. Let reading become your daily companion. A poem, a sacred verse, a chapter of a novel, anything that lifts your thoughts beyond yourself. Reading keeps the mind alive and reminds you that you are still connected to a greater human story. Write something each day, even if only one line. A journal entry, a memory, a word of gratitude. Writing is like planting seeds of meaning in the soil of your days. Later, when you look back, you will see a garden of your life blooming across the pages. And do not forget the body. Take a walk if you are able, even if it is only down the street or around your yard. Feel the sunlight on your skin, the rhythm of your steps, the heartbeat steady in your chest. If walking is difficult, stretch in your chair, move your arms, take deep breaths. Tell your body, "I am still alive, and I will honor you with movement." Cook yourself proper meals. Many who live alone begin to neglect this, saying, "Why cook for just me?" But you are not just you. You are worthy of nourishment, of flavor, of care. Prepare your plate with pride. Eat slowly. Taste each bite. Let meals become rituals of gratitude rather than chores of survival. And when evening comes, close the day with thankfulness. Whisper a prayer, or simply say aloud, "Thank you for this day." Gratitude is like a lamp that keeps the shadows of loneliness from overtaking the heart. Rituals are not trivial. They are anchors. They keep your spirit steady, reminding you that even in solitude, your life has rhythm, meaning, and beauty. Part 3. The power of connection, even in small ways. My friend, let us now talk about something the heart always hungers for: connection. We are made to love and to be loved, to touch and be touched, to listen and to be heard. And when age comes, when people we once leaned on are no longer near, this hunger does not disappear. It grows stronger. That is why loneliness can feel so sharp. It is the ache of a soul that longs to connect. But here is the beautiful truth. Connection does not always need to be grand or complicated. Sometimes it lives in the smallest gestures. You do not need to sit in a crowded room to feel companionship. Start with something simple. A smile to a neighbor, a short greeting to the delivery man, a kind word to the cashier. These tiny threads of kindness weave themselves into something bigger. They remind you that you are part of a living world, not an isolated island. Pick up the phone, even if only for 5 minutes. Call a relative. Call an old friend. You don't need an hour-long conversation to feel warmth. Sometimes a single laugh shared across the line can keep loneliness away for an entire day. If you are comfortable with technology, let it serve you rather than frighten you. A video call with a grandchild, even once a week, can make your eyes sparkle. If you cannot manage it alone, ask someone to teach you. Most people will be glad to help. Don't let pride keep you from learning. The screen may not replace a hug, but it still carries a face, a smile, a voice, and that is a gift. And remember, connection is not limited to people. Nature itself can be your companion. Talk to the plants you water. Notice the birds that visit your window. Feed a stray cat and call it your friend. It may sound small, but it works wonders. A living thing, even a plant or an animal, responds to your attention, and in turn, it reminds you that your presence matters. And do not forget one of the greatest connections of all, the connection with the divine. Whether you pray, meditate, or simply sit in silence, reaching for something greater than yourself fills the soul in ways nothing else can. Many who have walked the road of old age say that it is in these quiet prayers, whispered alone, that they feel the deepest company. So do not let loneliness convince you that you are cut off from the world. Each day, choose one small act of connection. It may be as simple as saying hello, or as simple as listening. Loneliness shrinks when you remember you are still part of a story larger than your own. Part 4. Keeping the mind and body alive. Now let us speak of another great truth. The body and the mind are like lamps. If you let them gather dust, the light grows dim. But if you keep tending them, even in old age, they will shine brightly. Happiness in solitude depends on this, keeping both your mind and body alive. Begin with the body. You do not need to be an athlete. You do not need to do what the young do. But you must move in whatever way you can. If you are strong enough to walk, then walk. If only a few steps, let it be those few. If your legs are weak, stretch your arms, roll your shoulders, breathe deeply. Movement is not about proving strength. It is about telling your body, I still belong to life. Even the smallest exercise each day is like knocking on the door of vitality, reminding it to stay. Pay attention to food. Eat with balance. Do not starve yourself because you are alone, and do not overfill yourself because you are sad. Think of each meal as a chance to honor your health. The body may be aging, but it still deserves care. And drink water. It sounds too simple, yet it is often forgotten. Keep yourself hydrated. It refreshes not only the body, but also the mind. Now for the mind. Never let it fall asleep. Keep learning. Pick up a book you've never read. Learn a new word each day. If your memory struggles, do not be ashamed. Learning is not only about remembering, it is about awakening curiosity. Even if you forget, the act of engaging keeps your mind alive. Try puzzles, crosswords, or even learning to paint. Write letters. Sing songs you remember from your youth. Recite prayers or poems aloud. These acts are not childish, they are medicine. They keep the mind flexible, playful, alive. And here is something even more powerful. Teach what you know. The years you have lived are a treasure chest of wisdom. Share it with someone. Teach a grandchild a recipe, a neighbor a skill, a young person a lesson about patience. Teaching reminds your mind that it still has value, that it is still capable of giving, and never underestimate laughter. Watch a comedy. Remember a funny story. Laugh at yourself when you make mistakes. Laughter wakes up both the body and the mind. It is exercise for the soul. Do not accept the lie that age means decline without dignity. Your body and mind may not be what they once were, but they are still yours. Care for them, move them, feed them, challenge them, and in return, they will repay you with light, with energy, with joy. Part 5. Finding Purpose Beyond Yourself. My dear friend, we have spoken of solitude, of rituals, of connection, of keeping your body and mind alive. But now we arrive at the deepest truth of all, the one that transforms loneliness into strength. Purpose. Without purpose, the days blend together into emptiness. With purpose, even the simplest life becomes radiant. Purpose does not always come in grand missions. At this age, purpose is not about building empires or chasing ambition. It is about giving meaning to your days by turning your heart outward. It is about realizing that life is not finished with you yet, that there are still seeds for you to plant, still lights for you to kindle, still people waiting for your love. Ask yourself each morning, what small good can I do today? Maybe it is a phone call to someone who feels forgotten. Maybe it is baking bread and sharing it with a neighbor. Maybe it is knitting something warm for a child you may never meet. Purpose can be as humble as watering the flowers so they bloom, or as tender as writing down your stories so future generations will know where they came from. I once knew an old man who lived alone after his wife passed. For years, he battled the emptiness of his days. Then one morning, he decided to start picking up litter along his street. Every day, he carried a small bag and walked slowly, cleaning the ground as he went. At first, people thought it odd. But soon, neighbors began to notice how clean the street looked, how the flowers grew brighter without trash around them. Children started greeting him. Some even joined him. That man, with his simple daily act, found purpose. And in return, he found joy. Purpose does not have to be recognized by the world. You do not need applause. True purpose is quiet, steady, and deeply fulfilling. It may be found in prayer, in service, in kindness, in creativity, or in sharing wisdom. What matters is that you give. Because when you give, you forget the emptiness inside you. When you give, you step out of your loneliness and into love. Remember, you are still a vessel of light. No matter how many years have passed, no matter how empty your house feels, your presence still carries power. You can still comfort, still guide, still inspire. And when you live for more than yourself, loneliness loses its grip, for the heart cannot feel empty while it is pouring itself out for others. So find your purpose, however small. Let it be the anchor of your days, and let it remind you that even now, your life matters more than you know. Conclusion. My friend, if you are old and alone, remember this wisdom. Solitude does not have to be your enemy. Each day, you have the choice to turn it into peace. Accept your season of life as a gift. Create small rituals that bring joy and give structure to your hours. Reach out for connection, even in the smallest ways. A smile, a word, a prayer. Keep your body moving, your mind alive, your laughter intact, and above all, live with purpose, no matter how humble, no matter how quiet. Loneliness will visit you at times. It is part of being human, but it does not have to stay. You can welcome it like a passing guest, offer it tea, and then watch it leave as you return to the life you are still living. For as long as you breathe, life is offering you another chance to live fully, to love deeply, to shine brightly. Do not think of yourself as forgotten. You are a keeper of stories, a witness to history, a vessel of wisdom, a soul that still has something to give. The world is richer because you are here, and each day you choose to live with gratitude, courage, and purpose. You are proving that happiness is not about who fills your house, but how you fill your heart. So rise each morning and remind yourself, I am alive, I am enough. I still have love to give. With those words, you will find the strength to walk through your solitude with peace. And you will discover that being old and alone is not an ending. It is a new beginning, a sacred season where the soul can bloom in ways it never could before. Now go, my friend, live this day with joy. And remember, you are never truly alone when you live with love.